Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, PattSun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/am I the asshole, where OP's cheating wife got an extra large dose of karma. Let's begin. My wife cheated, and I let someone close to her know. Am I the asshole? Posted by Reddit user Square Society.
For a little context, I've been with my wife 13 years. She doesn't have a history of cheating. We have 2 kids together. Our relationship hasn't been great for a while. It seems like we are always trying to make it work. I'm going to try and be as unbiased with the telling of the story as I can be, a difficult thing to do, but I'll try. It's going to be a bit long as I tend to give a lot of details. So we just bought a new house together a little over a week ago and hired a contractor to build a small half wall around a set of stairs that leads to the basement. My wife had set up an ad looking for a contractor, so she was the one talking to him about times and whatnot. Last says she told me the contractor would be there around 11 a.m. My youngest daughter had dance class, about a 25-minute drive away at 9:10 a.m. that morning. My wife asked me if I'd mind taking the other kid for a drive too, as with all the stress of moving, she just needed to relax, which is understandable. She's the one who's done most of the planning. I know she's been stressed, so I say sure. I got back close to 11 a.m. and the contractor was there, and he just started what he was there to do that day. He left a while later. The following day, my wife starts talking about the contractor's background and mentioned he had past criminal history. She then tells me he was inappropriately messaging her, and then admits she wasn't appropriate either. I asked if she had the messages, and they had been deleted already. She said the inappropriateness didn't last long and that she was really sorry, but she had stopped a while ago. Obviously, I was upset about this, but I kept it together and told her I was going for a drive to clear my head and pick up something I needed. About 5 minutes after I left, my mind went back to the previous day and remembered that my wife had asked me if I could turn the water on so she could freshen up. Water to the house was shut off due to a slow leak, and that the contractor was there with her alone before I got there that day, and that she made sure both kids were out of the house. I turned around as something just fell off. I questioned her and she eventually spit out that she had kissed, and that was all. Then after more prying, she admitted to oral. I was furious. I threw my cup of coffee on the ground, screamed a few expletives at her and stormed out. I was crushed and furious. Now here is the part where I could be an asshole. My wife's parents' opinion of her has always been very important to her. I'm not going to pretend I had good motives here. I wanted to hurt her like she hurt me, so I texted her mother and told her exactly what she did with the contractor, and told my wife that her deceased father would be thoroughly ashamed of her. She has struggled with his passing. It's been almost 5 years and it's still a struggle for her. I also sent my wife a screenshot of what I said to her mother. I realize it sounds childish that I told her mom on her more or less, but her mother's opinion of her means so much to her. She eventually got me back to the house that night. She had told me the dog got out and was missing, but when I pulled in she told me that she had just come back, so I left again. She seemed to be having a mental health crisis, so I texted her mother and told her she needed to come down to stay with her daughter, but I would go back until she got there. When I got there, my wife was gone already, likely only a minute or two. My 2 kids were asleep inside, so I obviously went in as I couldn't leave them alone, and again informed her mother of the change. After some texting, my wife pulled in and asked me to come out and talk to her. I insisted I was too pissed to have a calm conversation and I wasn't going to. She said fine and told me to sleep in the house and she would sleep in the van. She convinced me to let her in to grab something, so I did. She wouldn't leave. I tried to leave. She eventually convinced me to sleep in the bedroom and she would sleep on the couch. I agreed. She made her way to the bedroom anyway. Eventually we decided we wouldn't do anything too rash. I made it clear that I might still leave her yet. Kids and a new house purchase makes leaving difficult. She has admitted that what she did was terrible and unforgivable, and did seem remorseful. Over the last few days, she has been trying to get me to tell her mother that what I said wasn't true. I didn't tell anyone else, complaining that it has ruined her relationship with her mom, that she is so ashamed and can't even look at her. She did admit she cheated and kissed the contractor, but that is all she admitted to her mom. For the first couple days I was firm and not a chance in hell would I do that. I eventually decided that I didn't want to permanently damage her relationship with her mother, and told her that there was a miscommunication, and I jumped to conclusions.
Like a little bitch.
Things had been going okay-ish, a few blowouts here and there, but today my wife texted me and said that while she knows what she did was the worst thing ever, but she doesn't know if she can forgive me for telling her mother what she did and ruining their relationship. Honestly, I saw red at that point. Am I overreacting here? I feel like she's trying to tell me that what I did was worse and unforgivable. Am I the asshole? Clarity edit. This was the contractor's third time at our house, and my wife had been chatting and flirting with him over the course of the week. He built a wall with drywall, so as most would probably realize, you can't do all the mudding in one go.
No, OP, you are not overreacting at all, but you are a little bitch for giving in to your cheating wife's demands. Now look at you, pathetically getting blamed and gaslit that you are the one at fault. OP, if you even think that she has been loyal to you your entire marriage, then you are a fool. If your wife is sucking some random contractor's dick, then I'd be more concerned about if the kids are even yours in the first place. Gather evidence and tell everyone, not just her mother. And now for today's second story. The final update. Am I the asshole for giving my wife an ultimatum? Posted by Reddit user Key Salamander.
I have been married to my wife for 7 years and we were together another 3 before that. We had a daughter. On the outside, our marriage appears to be perfect. She and I own a nice house with a good school district, have a great kid and both work full-time. Her job requires her to do some travel and wants her in the office 3 days a week. My job does not pay as well, but I work completely remote and spend a lot of time taking my daughter to soccer or doctor's appointments, as well as keeping up around the house. Before anyone asks, this is not a weight gain issue. I am active and fit and my wife is the same. For the past 4 or so years my wife has shown basically no interest in our marriage and acts more like my roommate than partner. We have basically no romance or intimacy. When I say intimacy, I know some people will jump to sex, but to me intimacy means acting like a couple. Hand-holding, kisses, cuddling, and obviously, sex. None of those are really things my wife wants to do and makes it painfully obvious that she isn't interested. Before she and I were very much an amazing couple. My wife also shows no interest in my life. She has forgotten important events like our anniversary and my birthday. Our last anniversary, she said she needed to cancel the dinner plans I made for the 2 of us because she had to work late on a Friday and travel for work the following week. I brought this up to my therapist who suggested couples therapy and is willing to give some recommendations. I brought this up to my wife, who immediately shut it down saying there's nothing wrong with me, I don't need therapy. I have made multiple suggestions to her about how we can possibly improve our relationship. Family vacation. Our daughter won't appreciate it. I don't see what 5-year-old wouldn't want to go to the beach for a couple days, but maybe I'm wrong. A romantic getaway for just her and I. No, I'm too busy at work. Or can't we just spend time together at home? Taking our daughter on a bike ride and going out to lunch on a weekend. I want to just relax, so I gave up trying to initiate anything with her and recently began looking for an out. I watched my parents in a failing marriage for a decade and don't want to put my child through that. I talked to a lawyer and got papers ready and can buy a condo in town to keep our daughter in the same school district with her friends, since I can't afford our house by myself. I recently confronted my wife when our daughter was on a playdate. I told her that I am seriously considering leaving her since I feel as though I don't matter to her and our relationship is never a priority to her. I told her I have an exit plan and if she doesn't make changes by the new year, I am going to file for divorce and full custody. She and I got into a big fight where she basically told me I was manipulative and an asshole for blindsiding her like that. I told her that none of this would be an issue if she cared about us or at least pretended to. I told her I don't want our daughter to see how unhealthy our relationship is. All of this happened yesterday. So Reddit, am I the asshole for what I said to my wife and our argument after? Edit, I have brought up my concerns about our marriage to her multiple times. Things usually improve for a short while but are quickly back to the status quo in a week or 2. Now, for OP's first update. Hi everyone. First of all, thank you for all of your replies and messages. I received a ton and haven't been able to reply to them all. It has been a crazy couple of weeks unfortunately. My marriage is over, and after talking to my wife I realize it has been for a long time. The day after my post, I began the divorce process with my lawyer. Everyone who said I was an asshole for saying I was going to get full custody, that is true. I was angry, frustrated and said something I shouldn't have. We are going to split custody, with me having the weekdays and my wife having weekends. That said, everyone who said she was cheating, congratulations, you were right. She has been for around 4 years now, which is about the time she started withdrawing from our marriage. She has been cheating with this coworker because she felt like she was not attractive after having a child and I was busy with work and childcare. More recently, she has begun to develop feelings for him and was considering leaving me for him, which she is now free to do. When I gave her the ultimatum, she was surprised that I was considering leaving her and thought I knew about her affair at the time. We sat our daughter down and explained that we are splitting up, but we both love her more than anything. My daughter was understandably upset and is having a tough time. I have been looking into therapy options for my daughter and told her that she can always tell me how she is feeling. This is the hardest part of everything so far. My wife and I are going to be geographically close. I'm going to be moving into a condo in early January and my wife is going to move in with her coworker about 15 minutes away. With the sale of our house, I will be able to pay off a large portion of my new home. According to the lawyer, we can have everything wrapped up by New Year's if it goes smoothly, but with the holidays I'll be happy with early January. In the meantime, I'm going to start rebuilding my life. I did not get married with the intention of getting divorced, but here we are. I am going to work on myself and my relationship with my daughter, starting with a vacation. I am going to surprise her with a trip to Disney this winter. It will be expensive, but I really want to make her happy and create some happy memories. I'm going to miss her on weekends. Maybe one day I'll explain this all to her when she is an appropriate age and we can talk about it more. In the meantime, I am going to work on myself and try to be the best version of me that I can. I don't know what the future holds, but I guess I'll know eventually. And now, for OP's final update. Hi everyone, I figured I would give one final update. My divorce has been finalized and I feel exhausted and relieved. I am looking forward to starting the next chapter of my life. This was the longest close to 6 months of my life and I'm happy it's over. I do feel a little empty, but that will pass eventually. My ex-wife dragged parts of it out more than needed, which was very frustrating. She ended up finding her own place, which she was not happy about. She is also pregnant, but neither of those are my problems. I have primary custody of our daughter. I get most weeknights and most weekends, plus travel. She and I are both doing well and adjusting to things a little bit. I'm working on myself still and think I have a long way to go. She is talking to a therapist who is helping her work through her emotions, and I tried to make the holidays special for her. I want to thank those of you who recommended support subreddits for infidelity. Reading a lot about similar situations has given me perspective on my situation. If anyone is going through a similar struggle, I understand what you're going through and hope you find the strength to do what you need to do.
Surprise, surprise! Her affair partner isn't interested in playing family with her and the baby. Don't you just love karma? It's such a beautiful thing. OP, I'm so glad that you made it to the other side. You will still be hurting for some time, sure, but it will slowly get better. Enjoy all of the quality time that you have with your daughter. Thanks for the update, man. Take care and look forward to much happier days ahead. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.